Welcome to the Pulse with Peter B. I'm your host, Peter Biancamano. Let's get you to the pulse on everything you need to know. And we're here at the gorgeous Tavolo Di Palmisano, located at 700 Clinton Street in the beautiful city of Hoboken, New Jersey. And of course, there is excitement in my voice because the person to my right has been missing in action on this show. Oh, look at her. I see the dirty look from my vision over here. And that is our Places Insider, Megan Ixim of at Miss Giggles. Megan, where you been?
You tell me, Peter, because I don't know. I have been out and about, on the show. So I was wondering, did I outshine you a little bit too much last time?
Well, it is not hard to outshine me, but, maybe.
I'm so sorry, Peter.
I know, you kind of hurt my feelings. That's okay.
Oh, I didn't mean to, but I'm sure you'll get over it in about 2.5 seconds.
Exactly. Well, less than that, because you know why? We have all of this delicious food in front of us, and this is your second time now, because we did do a show outside.
Second time. My first time actually in the building, and it is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, this installation above us, stunning. And it just feels very Hoboken, but an elevated, very romantic type of space.
Exactly. And that's why I said gorgeous in the
Gorgeous.
Gorgeous. That's right. Taking out my jersey. And I'm taking out my jersey, Megan, because our first dish is nothing but Jersey, in my opinion. Of course, you can find it everywhere, all over the world. But they say the pizza in Nueva Jersey is the best pizza you'll ever get in your life. Do you agree?
I mean, absolutely. I'm a Jersey girl through and through. And the funniest part is I talked to the owner, describing the pizza. I was like, hey, is there anything you want me to call the pizza? Is it a special type of pizza? And he was like, no, it's a pizza.
He said, la pizza. He said, la pizza.
And that's all you need to know.
So I am going to move it closer to you. And this is just your standard cheese pizza, correct?
Cheese pizza. I mean, I don't know if we would call it standard, but the cheese on this pizza is cheesing.
Oh, it looks like it.
Just
oh my God,
look
at the cheese
that.
Whoa.
Oh my gosh.
You could tell Megan hasn't been on in a while.
I haven't
doing
been
the
on in a
awesome
while.
cheese over here.
I got a show. Oh, thank you. I missed you guys too. Thank you for having me back. All right, so we're going to take a delicious bite of all of this cheese.
And while you do that, I can already tell how we say in Italian, cotto, which is cooked underneath. It looks like it's cooked to absolute perfection. Give me your best Dave Portnoy here, Megan.
Oh my God. Okay. That cheese is unbelievable, but the sauce, delicious. Tastes like grandma's cooking on a Sunday night.
Okay. And that's so important for a pizza, because sometimes you get a pizza where the sauce is sweet, right? Or tangy.
Sometimes we get a little too fussy, and I'm about the classics. Sometimes when we're doing a classic slice of pizza.
Classic. At a very, very, as you mentioned, romantic and upscale Italian restaurant.
Absolutely. But, I don't know anyone who's never in the mood, no matter how nice the restaurant is, for a great slice of pizza.
Talk to me how that crisp is on that crust.
It is crispy. I mean, like you said, let's look at that bake. It is holding together despite having loads and loads of cheese.
Which is important, right?
It is very important. I want to keep eating it, but then I won't be able to talk to all of you.
Oh, well, yeah. Because who wants to hear me? We all want to hear Megan, correct? So why don't we move on? And we do have something here in the center of the table, which you said when it came out was probably one of your favorite pasta dishes, and 'tis the season for it.
Absolutely. 'Tis the season. I mean, this is actually one of the specials here. So I highly suggest, if you are a pumpkin cheesecake girly like myself, you need to run, not walk.
So it's a pumpkin ravioli.
It is a pumpkin ravioli, if I didn't make myself clear.
And what is the type of sauce on here?
I think it's a butternut squash butter sauce.
Oh my God.
I didn't get the full details. They were like, it's pumpkin ravioli. Just try it.
All right,
and that's what I love about the staff here.
Exactly. So while you try, that looks phenomenal.
Oh my
Absolutely
goodness.
phenomenal.
All right. Let me cut.
And you know what, Megan, while you have that, there is this debate, amongst the masses, I should say, that, is it pumpkin season or is it not pumpkin season anymore after Halloween?
What?
I'm just saying. Well, I don't agree with this, but this is what I hear out there.
I mean, any other cultures will tell you it's harvest season, first and foremost, which you have Halloween, Thanksgiving. I mean, I can't think of anything more Thanksgiving than pumpkin for me. I mean, pumpkin pie.
Amen. I agree with you.
Right.
I completely agree with you. Talk to me.
Oh, I mean, I am speechless. This might be one of the best things I have ever eaten on the Pulse.
Wow.
And I may be biased because I love pumpkin and I absolutely love being a little basic during this season, but it is delicious. It tastes like a butternut squash soup met a delicious Italian homemade ravioli.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
You know what I didn't ask you to do, but now I have to ask you to do it, was rank the dishes. So let's start with the butternut
Well,
squash
that's
pumpkin
not fair.
ravioli.
Okay, I'm
Out
going
of
to give
10.
it a 9.7.
Wow, that is a high,
Yes.
high score
For me,
Megan.
yes.
Exactly. Megan's one of our toughest judges, along with Jenna. You know,
Oh,
Gary and
yes,
Kristen,
I
they just give.
haven't met.
Yeah, I know. Well, we'll get you. Trust me, they're trying to push me off little by little, folks. But anyway, so 9.7. What about the pizza?
I'm going to say a healthy 9.0, which
Wow.
for a pizza lover like me, my dog has a pizza collar, if that tells you anything you need to know about my love for pizza. 9.0 is very, 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 very good.
All right. Now we got one more dish, and I could just tell
Yeah.
that I know what it is, but it just looks so.
Wait, do you know what it
beautiful.
is? Do you actually know what it is?
It's lasagna, isn't it?
Okay, all right. Good job, Peter. I'm just testing you.
I was like, what?
You know,
Come on,
if you're going to
man.
host a food segment.
I mean, I do. Yeah, trust me. I don't do that well. But anyway.
So this is a special as well. And not only is it a lasagna, it is a lasagna filled with sausage and meatballs.
What?
Yes.
Well, I'm glad you talked to the Palmisano brothers before I did. You know what I mean?
My research, you know.
I mean, absolutely.
Oh my goodness. And this looks homemade.
Oh my God.
I mean,
did you see the way they
ricotta, the thick noodle.
And look at the size of that slice.
Oh yeah, that's like you could get 2 meals out of that slice for sure.
100%.
At least for me.
Yeah, I mean, but and then go ahead while you chew.
Yes. Oh,
you
yes.
don't really see. You kind of just see the usual ground beef in a lasagna. People have been doing different things with the vegetable lasagnas and so on and so forth. But now you have actual meatball and sausage in there.
Meatball and sausage, which I think just gives it a little bit something different.
Okay.
When we talk about lasagna, because we all know a classic lasagna, absolutely delicious. But I mean, that meatball has a little bit more spice, has a little bit more consistency, and it gives it really a elevated moment with the lasagna, I think, in my opinion.
Oh my God. Yeah, I need a score.
I would give it a 9.
9 as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes,
Unbelievable.
I am very, very impressed. I also came here very hungry.
Oh, well. Which, I don't know, do you think that affects the score or?
I think so.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, look. I mean, look, and this is, and Megan, you would probably agree with this.
Yes.
I mean, you have said this is an upscale date night type of, type of restaurant, Italian restaurant that
Yes.
is. I mean, but when they can do all of these, and I don't want to call them simple, but classic Italian dishes, correct?
Yes.
Except for the pumpkin, but the pizza and the lasagna and all of that.
Well, I think that that's where you really see a restaurant shine, right? It's because we always kind of overstep or overthink the simplicity of a dish. And when we can keep a simple dish that everyone has an expectation for and really create people to be excited about that, that's when you know you have something great. And I feel like that is what makes this restaurant shine, is that every single one of these dishes can stand alone. And even I feel like a pumpkin ravioli can be seen as basic. I don't find it as basic.
I don't
but,
either.
You know, whatever.
With
floats
butternut
your boat.
squash sauce?
I
mean,
know.
come
I'm like,
on,
that's
man.
elevated for sure. But I think like this lasagna, the pizza alone, I mean, this pizza, classic, simple, red sauce, melted mozzarella cheese, great crust, done. Amazing.
Amazing. And that's how we're going to end it, folks. Megan Ixim, our Places Insider of @Miss_Giggles. Make sure you follow her there. We hope to see you on a future show.
I hope so as well, Peter. Let me know.
Exactly. Don't go missing on me. All right. Thanks again, Megan.
Thanks.
All right, folks, from Il Tavolo Di Palmisano, located at 700 Clinton Street in the beautiful city of Hoboken, New Jersey. Get over here, try all this great food, and we will be right back. Peter Biancamano, your hostess with the mostest of the Pulse with Peter B. Folks, don't forget to go on our Facebook and our Instagram pages by searching The Pulse with Peter B. and like and follow us on each of those platforms. We're constantly updating those pages with previews of each week's segments and cool stories. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to our email address at thepulsewithpeterb@gmail.com.
Welcome back. I'm your host with the most, Josh Sotomayor Einstein, and I'm so glad to be joined not by that bum, Biancamano, but by 5th Ward Council candidate Liz Urtecho. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So it takes a lot of bravery to throw one's hat in the ring to run for public office. So why don't you tell everybody what brought you to do so? What motivated you?
Right. So a couple years ago, I got involved in the issue of cannabis coming into town. And I worked with an advocacy group at that point. And we had really worked hard on a lot of parts of that issue. And my neighbors really wanted me to run. They saw that I could be an effective leader, that I could rally the troops, I can make change, and I'm fearless in some ways. I have a lot of courage and will do it. Do what it takes to get it done.
Well, listen, it takes a lot to go up against, let's call it the big pot lobby these days, because everybody wanted it to be legalized, and I support legalization, but there needs to be some sort of rules instead of everyone just getting high in the parks and on the sidewalk all the time. And I get red eye for no reason, even though I haven't touched a joint in over a year. So nothing against it, but tell us, what are the issues as you see it that City Hall should be dealing with?
Well, I mean, critically, they need to be dealing with the rat infestation, and it feels like it's been somewhat ignored or slow walked to a point where, like, even last week, the mayor vetoed the whole parklet ordinance that was presented, which was kind of, surprising.
So what was that ordinance?
That ordinance was that to ban any new parklets from coming into Hoboken. It grandfathered those in place already there, but going forward, we would not have any more. And it was a temporary ordinance, like we could revisit it and whenever the rat crisis is over, but and it passed. The council agreed that it should pass, but then the mayor vetoed it.
So just so everybody out there in TV land understands, the parklet is the built up restaurant structure that's in the parking spots outside of a restaurant that often serves as habitat and a place for rats and other vermin to get food. So.
Correct.
So when you're knocking out doors and you're campaigning, other than weed and rats, and maybe if we got the rats high, we could kill them all faster. Other than weeds and rats, what are the issues that the voters want change on?
Right. Well, it's simple quality of life stuff. So they really want streets cleaned. They really want their garbage taken away when it's heaping over in the cans. They want flooding taken care of. The stuff that when you walk out the door, that you notice. That's the stuff that they want to be want taken care of. I mean, they also want to be fairly represented on city council. So I think that's the other thing I'm hearing a lot of, that they notice a lot of things happening downtown and their voices are not always listened to, and they want a change in the 5th Ward.
So now, what is your background? How long have you been in town? What do you do professionally?
Okay, so I've lived here for 30 years. I've raised 4 children here. I stayed home for a bunch of years with my children. Before that, I worked at JP Morgan in finance. I have an MBA. I've been very invested in the community for a number of years, very invested. Not only do we live here, my kids went to school here, we went to church, we go to church here. Like I said, we have a really nice network of friends and people we've known for years here.
It sounds really, really fantastic. And I definitely want to hear more, both about what you would do as council person and about your background, but we do have to go to commercial, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Hudson River Care and Counseling. Hello, I'm Dr. Pam Pater-Ennis, the CEO and founder of Hudson River Care and Counseling with over 30 years of clinical social work experience and therapy. We are a progressive counseling and coaching practice with a diverse team that brings a holistic approach to clients. We offer support both in person and through digital platforms such as telehealth. Consider us a safe haven that you can trust with care for your mental health needs. Visit our website to set up a consultation today.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Josh Sotomayor Einstein. I'm so glad you stayed with us. I'm so glad that Liz, that you stayed with us, that you didn't run away because I wasn't too creepy. But creepy is my wheelhouse. But in reality, during the break, we were talking about development. And I think viewers out there would love to know what your perspective on development in town is, and especially because the Fifth Ward has all that area north of the viaduct that I know very intimately because I lived right south of it, 13th and Grand, for 6 years. What are your thoughts?
Well, some of the projects are starting to get approved in that area. And so we have the master plan, and as a council person, you need to kind of keep an eye on that the intention of that plan is always intact, because I've noticed that it keeps getting amended in order to help the developers put whatever project is they want to put in there. Also, we're going to start a construction project, and several, and there'll be issues with infrastructure, and there's going to be a lot of community nuisance. And whoever is the council person, which I hope is me, will have to get in front of all those issues, because there's going to be road closures, there's going to be pedestrian reroutes, there's going to be, streets, coming up to put in piping. So all that stuff has to be addressed, and you need someone who's really proactive to do that.
So I remember when I lived uptown and they were building some buildings right north of the viaduct, that it felt like, if anybody ever stayed home from work, or they worked at nights, or they were staying home to take care of a child, they would complain because it felt like miniature earthquakes when the giant construction trucks were driving down the block. And that can be very annoying. I know progress and buildings are necessary, but it can be annoying. But one of the other effects of building out density, whether it's up or wide or however it is the effects on parking. Right.
So the Fifth Ward in particular has a couple of parking garages or options for people. There's a 916 garden garage that the town is trying to decide what to do with. It's the automatic garage that keeps failing, and we keep spending a lot of money to fix it. But and they sent out a survey, and I don't know where the results of that survey is, but the residents around that garage really want it to be a garage. I mean, we have seniors who use the garage, and because there's no parking, a private parking option anywhere, or that's a municipal garage anywhere close to that section. Then we have the municipal garage or parking lot that's out on by the Resiliency Park, and there is some discussion as to whether or not that will be built out at some point.
I hear what you're saying. Are there any other issues or any factoids that you want the viewers out there to know about you in TV land?
Well, I mean, like I said, I've been around for 30 years. I've seen a lot. I work really hard to improve our community, and when I get involved, I'm all in. So in the last debate, I think Jen mentioned to you that I'm an Ironman finisher. Like, I finish Ironman races. Like, that kind of discipline and commitment is kind of how I carry myself in all aspects of my life.
Now, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm a portly gentleman. So other than the cartoon superhero Iron Man, played by Robert Downey Jr., what does an Ironman competition mean?
For me, it's 14 hours of swim, bike, and run. It's 2+ miles of swimming, 112 miles of biking, and then a marathon.
That is a lot. Now, is someone chasing you? Were you trying to get away from somebody?
No.
You did this for fun.
I do this for fun.
That is commitment. That is commitment. Oh my God. That's pretty crazy.
And that's kind of like that kind of commitment. Anyone could do these races if you focus and you have the right amount of discipline and work really hard to do it. And so, but I take that sort of philosophy to all parts of my life. It's not just that. It's the same sort of energy I'll bring to the job.
Oh, well, thank you. That sounds amazing. Thank you so much for joining us.
A pleasure to be here.
I look forward to hearing what happens on Election Day. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Peter Biancamano back with you. Don't forget to watch us on cable access every Sunday and Monday at 9 a.m. Optimum Channel 18, Files Channel 46, and Comcast Channel 190. Also on Sunday mornings at 9:30 a.m., you can watch our show on our YouTube channel, and you can also binge watch all of our old shows. Who doesn't want to keep watching The Pulse with Peter B? We'll see you there.
Welcome back. I'm your host with the most, Josh Sotomayor Einstein, and I'm so glad that you out there in TV land and on the internets and the interweb have decided to stick with us, stay with us, because I have an absolutely wonderful guest, Second Ward Council candidate Marla Decker. Thanks so much for joining.
Thank you for having me. It's a real pleasure.
So everybody out there in the Second Ward, they've heard your name. They saw that you did pretty darn good at the debates, but maybe there's some gaps they need to fill in. So why don't you tell us about your background?
Sure. I'm a 20-year Hoboken resident. I came here from Manhattan, like many people do, with a question mark of whether I would stay or not. And here I am 20 years later, 2 kids who go to school in the Hoboken public schools. I've been a community volunteer here for a long time. I've really dug my roots into Hoboken and really liked how it feels. And I love this community. I sat on the board of my condo association for over a decade, which really taught me a lot about both all the reasons and diversity of stories of people who come to Hoboken and why they stay in Hoboken, and from our young singles to our seniors to people who have moved here from the burbs and downsized. So I really learned a lot about community harmonization and the different perspectives. So that's what got me into Hoboken politics in a way. Mm-hmm. A lot of the questions that come up on the board level really have to do with city issues, whether it be the Rebuild by Design project was big in our neighborhood, Union Dry Dock,
that's huge, 'cause,
the fight for Monarch,
the hurricane,
pedestrian safety, in surrounding areas. So that's it's a combination of wanting to make sure that where we live continues to flourish.
Now, have you lived in the same neighborhood or the same building the entire time that you've been in Hoboken?
I've lived where I live now, which is 1500 Garden, for 14 years. Mm-hmm. And we lived downtown on Newark and Willow for the first 6.
Nice. So what are the issues? I know you're out there knocking on doors and you're meeting people and you're pressing the flesh and you're kissing babies and shaking hands. Hopefully not shaking babies and kissing hands. That'd be awkward. So what are the issues that you're hearing from people in your ward that they want to see City Hall act on?
Good question. And I think this generation of campaigning is kissing dogs. In Hoboken, it's all about kissing dogs. And I've kissed a lot. I think there's a couple of common threads. And it's interesting because within the Second Ward, there are sub neighborhoods, if you will, where the issues are different. But I think one of the issues that pervades is public enjoyment of public space, I guess, or enjoyment of quality of life in public space. We have a lot of people raise the issue of traffic in our neighborhood, people not stopping at stop signs. We have noise complaints or sort of mischief on the weekends that might happen around, the piers and the waterfront. I think that's an issue that comes up a lot in various forms, which one of my priorities for the Second Ward is to get us a code enforcement officer, which is someone who's not a member of the Hoboken Police Department, but who can focus on some of these smaller issues that maybe the police officers can't address, like, loud cars going by at night or, these smaller traffic violations, just sort of nuisance behavior that impacts people's enjoyment of our common space.
That would be a great idea. I live on the Avenue on Washington Street.
Okay.
And there's whatever weekend night, party night, it's a Monday night, so you think people would be tired from, having a case of the Mondays. There's always somebody at like 3 a.m. that wants to blast their music. And I usually like their music, as long as it's not country, but, and it's almost never country. But, I usually like the beats, but it's like, it's 3 a.m. I don't feel like, getting, like dancing right now. So, and there's no one that does anything about that. There's no noise violation, that happens. And, it's like you were saying before, the streets are not safe.
Yeah.
So definitely hear what
Yeah.
you're talking about.
I mean, I've learned, because I've done a lot of learning through this process, which has been one of the most fun aspects of campaigning, that the Hoboken police can't pull somebody over for loud music. It's considered a secondary violation, and they can only pull them over for a traffic violation. So you need someone like the code officer who's empowered to address those issues that the Hoboken police can't.
Well, I mean, it goes back to what you're saying also about the stop signs. I mean, half the times people are rolling through stop signs or red lights, they're also blasting music. So, one hand washes the other, so to speak.
That's true.
But what are some of the other issues that motivated you to step up to the plate and, do this thing that called running for public office that honestly takes a lot of heart and a lot of bravery?
Like I said, I love Hoboken, and, as you get older, I guess, I'm getting older in some way, but you want to spend your time doing things that you feel passionate about, and when I look around at what I feel passionate about, it's my community, it's my neighbors, it's being able to solve small problems for people. It's very empowering to be able to do that, and to, we have a lot of things going on in this world that feel negative, right? And so it's a personal benefit to me to be able to bring some positivity and solutions to, big and small. I also think that Hoboken is such a unique place in terms of this city-state, if you will, of we have all the issues that face us at a national and global level in some ways, right? We have poverty, we have wealth, we have public education, we have charters, we have obviously ecological problems with our rats, we have the effects of global warming with flooding and environmental concerns, and I just think we have all that, so that gives us an opportunity in such a small community where you're 1 degree separated from your neighbors in Hoboken at all times, that we have this opportunity to use this space as like a little petri dish to figure out some solutions that work and be a model for others, but just have this small enough space that it's not overwhelmingly difficult to solve some of our problems, even though some of them are legitimately challenging.
Now, what is it like campaigning in your district? Because a fair amount of your district is larger buildings where it's not as natural to be knocking on smaller buildings, or row houses or whatnot, so how's that been?
You're right. It's varied, and like buildings almost have personalities. I really enjoyed door knocking. I didn't expect to. I've been, invited in by grannies, given a bracelet in one case, which I'll wear proudly. People are, on the whole, a high percentage of the time, happy that they get the opportunity to talk to somebody who wants to run for public office, because they have questions or concerns, or they just feel like, hey, I'm glad, even if they don't, I feel like I've had I appreciate this opportunity in this convenient way to be heard, So, and I've really enjoyed it.
Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on. We only have about 25 seconds left, so you got 25 seconds.
Yeah.
Why don't you give an elevator pitch?
Sure. So please vote for me on November 7th, 3E. I'm all about building our community, solving our problems. I have a background in finance and law, and have experience with negotiation and getting to yes, and making sure that we can sort of end the political morass that sometimes impedes progress in Hoboken, and really work towards solutions that address most people's concerns and keep us moving in the right direction.
Well, perfect. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Oh, right back at you, and I hope we have you on again sometime in the future.
I would love that.
Out there in TV land, remember, tune in next week for The Pulse on everything you need to know.